With Austin Price, Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com, covering the Volunteers on campus. Finally, I feel like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny when he's interviewing the sheriff, Austin. What'd you find out?
Well, I found out this is a football team that's still trying to find experience. You look around the practice field, you've got guys playing in different positions than maybe they played last fall. You've got a quarterback race that, you saw, a bunch of guys that were eager to get to the front of the line. Some had better days and routes on air than others. But let's caution that it's routes on air and it's the first day in pads and the third practice of the Josh Heupel era. So, don't read too much into who was first rep or who dropped what. It's a practice. So, it's one of those things where Tennessee's going to kind of continue to kind of dip their toe into the water under Josh Heupel, and it was good to be back out there today.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks maybe a little more specifically. How are they coaching these guys? Because that's been the all talk all preseason and before spring starts, how fast they go and this, and it's a quarterback-friendly system and what all they ask their quarterbacks to do. Just from an eyewitness eyeballing it, how's that kind of coaching relationship on the practice field, you think?
Very hands-on. I thought all of the coaches were super hands-on in a good way. As we talked about, they're trying to put forth a kind of a positive outlook. And so I thought Coach Halsley was very talkative, explaining what guys were doing wrong. If somebody did a wrong rep, he would step in and go, no, here's how you do it. You got to make sure you tuck it in, then you pull it in, then you go. Whether you're delivering, the football through the air or following out a fake. And so, Brent, I thought it was very hands-on for Coach Halsley and the quarterbacks, but I thought it was hands-on with all of the assistant coaches that I got to watch during spring practice today. We got 2 periods. It wasn't like I got to see everybody because I didn't. I predominantly stayed on the offensive side of the ball. And, the offensive coaches that I watched were very hands-on.
On Saturday, Alex Golesh called Coach Ellerbe arguably the best offensive line coach in the country and loves the way he installs a system. We've all wondered about whether or not this offensive line can handle the pace that they're playing at there, what kind of shape they're going to be in. We heard some praise for some individuals. What did you notice out of that offensive line today when you took a glance at them?
Well, ironically, and again, I caution everybody, it's just, practice. But, ironically, running up at starting left tackle today was Dane Davis, walk on from the Tri-Cities area. It was K'Ron Calvert and Kingston Harris running second team left tackle, second team left guard. If you're basing it off how you start, with Cade Mays was the starting left guard in this scenario. So, interesting to kind of see that play out. I had heard maybe he had, they were kind of going that direction at least early. Dane's a big body, and maybe they're just trying to see what they can get out of him, knowing K'Ron has played a lot. I honestly think K'Ron, if he's going to be a part of this football program, will need to factor somewhere, or they need him to factor somewhere because he has played football at this level.
All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. Rodney Garner is maybe the most experienced coach on this squad, along with Willie Martinez. Pads are on, so now some things start to get real for a defensive line group that, quite frankly, hasn't had a defensive line coach in a long time. What did you see out of that group, about Aubrey Solomon? What kind of conditioning are they in? What did you see out of Rodney Garner and kind of their approach to things?
Solomon's in better shape than he was a year ago. Still isn't need where he needs to be, but he is in much better shape than he was a year ago. I think the offseason has been fairly kind to him as far as losing weight and getting in much better shape. Darrell Middleton continues to look the part. And, if Rodney Garner can get out of him what, he hopes to get out of him, then I expect, Darrell to make more plays than he ever has at Tennessee. Interestingly enough, that you saw today, Bryson Eason, the young man from Memphis Whitehaven, played linebacker and kind of outside backer a year ago. He was with the defensive line today. That's not a shock. He's always had the weight. And honestly, some people on our board have compared him to Melvin Ingram. Not a shock that you would see him kind of put his hand on the ground. He's extremely athletic still for a guy his size. And then Tyler Barron also working with the defensive line today.
All right, my last question to you is that linebacker. Did they have enough bodies out there to practice? What does that linebacker group look like? Because there's just no bodies there, it looks like.
You're right. They got Will Albright playing some linebacker. Aaron Beasley. You look at Jeremy Banks. He's had some off-season cleanup, so he's going to be extremely limited this spring. I would not expect him to do any type of full contact stuff, or just kind of, individual, that type of thing when he's able to go. That's kind of where, they are at middle linebacker. It's something where they're going to trying to give Morvin Joseph a look there. He was out there at middle linebacker today. But again, on the last staff, he played, outside backer and then was trying to learn a little bit of inside backer before the last staff got fired. So we'll be interested to see how he adapts to playing middle linebacker and inside backer. But this is an inside backing core that probably needs some help through the transfer portal if they go that route. One that's extremely thin with the absence of Henry Toto and Lawrence Crouch.
All right, we've got full observations coming up on the message board or up on the message board. We'll have comments from Coach Banks, Coach Burns following practice as well today. Plenty of coverage of Tennessee on the practice field at Neyland Stadium on the Haslam Field this afternoon as we got a chance to watch a little practice. For Austin Price, I'm Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com.